Hello, BookTube. I've got a poem for you today on this bright, sunny Poetry Wednesday. It is gorgeous here today. 70 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, not a breath of wind. I look at the radar apps that I have, and it looks to me like there's a monstrous storm, gigantic thing, takes up like 10 states. And it looks like it's moving upwards from Texas to New England. So no idea how long this weather's going to last, but I'll take it while I can. The only worry here is that my little dog is prone to overheating, and she's not prone to admitting that fact. So it's a thing that I don't have to worry about. I don't have to worry about it for 6 months out of the year. But now is the time when I do. If we're going to go on a nice long ramble, I have to be watching carefully to see that she doesn't overheat. But I have a poem for you today. It's going to be a little bit of an exercise. We're going to depart from the normal routine of our poetry readings just a bit. I'm going to read you a poem. I'm not going to tell you the author or the title until we're done. But I'm going to read you a poem. There are no proper place names anywhere in this thing. So I want you to guess, just listening to the poem, the country where this poem is set. Those of you who live there will know right away. But I want to see if you can guess the country. And this is the poem. When the black herds of the rain were grazing in the gap of the pure cold wind, and the watery hazes of the hazel brought her into my mind, I thought of the last honey by the water that no hive can find. Brightness was drenching through the branches when she wandered again, turning the silver out of dark grasses where the skylark had lain, and her voice coming softly over the meadow was the mist becoming rain. Those of you who guessed Ireland will be entirely correct. You know right away that this is a poem set in Ireland, because the poet doesn't go more than a single syllable at any one time without mentioning cold and rain and mist and wet. And yet, there's a loveliness to it, right? And my reading didn't really do it justice, but you can sort of hear some of the buried rhymes that are in there are quite intricate. The poem's name is Austin Clarke, whose dates are given as 1896 to 1974. And the poem is called The Lost Heifer. So, at least on one level, as far as I can tell, it's not a love poem or even a love-lost poem. Instead, it's that voice that's roaming out over the hills, the voice that, what is it again? Her voice coming softly over the meadow was the mist becoming rain, is in fact about a heifer, which would also make it very Irish. And this is not from one of my normal anthologies. I guess I mentioned one too many times in a recent poetry video that I only have a handful of poetry anthologies. I guess maybe that got on the nerves of one of you because you sent me an e-copy of a book I actually have here. And the minute I realized that, the minute I saw it was great to have the e-copy, thank you very much. But I went and found the physical copy. And the minute I found the physical copy, I realized that, of course, I have lots and lots of poetry anthologies here. Lots and lots of them. This, for instance, is edited by Patrick Crotty, and it is the great Penguin Book of Irish Poetry. Big, thick thing. That I got, as the bookmark informs me, from Book Depository. This is one of the rare Book Depository purchases I've gotten over the years that I'm very happy with. I read it from cover to cover when I first got it in the mail from Book Depository. Book Depository is adorable. You're not making any great bargains there, but a lot of times you can get UK editions, and I rather like UK editions. And there's also something adorable about the fact that they send these things on the slow boat from China. So you make your Book Depository order, and you literally forget about it completely. It can be a month or even more before the books actually reach you. The thing that stops me from shopping there regularly, I know that some of you do shop there regularly, and it's a great site. I don't deny that at all. The thing that stops me is something that David Murphy now knows, the same as all the rest of you have been here know. Once you've been to the Brattle, all book prices seem high. Not everybody can live in small town Vermont where everything's 50 cents. Usually if you go to a used bookstore and it's a good, curated used bookstore, you'd be lucky if you pay only $5 for a book. You'd be lucky. Whereas in the Brattle sale lot, that's the highest that it goes. and once you've experienced that, especially once you've gone back a couple of times and you know that the first time was not a fluke, that you can always find an armload of books for a negligible amount of money, it's hard to shop in places like Book Depository. You can, but you look at the prices on most of the books and you think, well, that'll turn up. That'll turn up at the Brattle, and it'll be $2. It'll be $3, so I won't need to. I should still make a point of doing it because it is kind of fun to do. It's a good, wonderful outlet. But I got this from them, and this is a whole nother poetry anthology to add to what I thought was a small list. Turns out it's not a small list. There's quite a few. I have probably 20. So if that was the message received. I'm very happy to have an e-copy of this, but I'm happy also to re-explore this thing. This is going to go on the nightstand here for a little bit more rereading. And so you should probably be prepared for a few more Irish poems, which means be prepared for more instant allusions to cold and rain and mist, especially rain. To me, it's music. It's music in my memory. But those of you who haven't been there are going to think, good God, this place sounds horrible. And my advice to you, if that's true, would be go there. Go there. Even if it's raining every day, when you come back, tell me you don't want to go back. Tell me you didn't love it. But anyway, that's your poem for today, and I'm gonna wrap this up, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.